Have you ever tasted something so good you couldn't wait to have it again? Okay, now think of a time where you had something so bad it made you sick thinking about it. That reaction, that sensitivity, that's your sense of taste at play. And in leadership, your taste works in the same way. Because your standards, your decisions, your attention to detail, they shape the culture and the experience that your team and your clients are left with. So the question is, what are people tasting when they experience your leadership? Let's unfold. All right, welcome back, y'all. If you don't know me, my name is Jerry Simmons, and here at Unfolded, we train and transform individuals like you who want to inspire, influence, and impact people in their everyday life. So let's get into our sense of taste, okay? So obviously, in the intro, we talked about imagining something that tastes so good that you can't wait to have it again. One of those things for me, Lay's chips. Listen, regular Lay's, something about them, okay? Something about them. They just hit. They just hit right, okay? I'm not gonna chew because I have to talk, but if you know, you know. Now, in the same vein, when I think of snacks, something that, I enjoy, there are also things I think of that I don't enjoy, okay? One of those things, and hear me out, because I'm a picky eater. So I can already hear people in the comments talking about, how do you not like this thing? Everybody likes this thing. This is universal. I don't like popcorn. Okay, listen. Lock in. Come on. I don't know what it is about the taste, but it's not it for me. I don't know if it's a texture thing. I don't know if it's the kernel, but I always am left thinking it's flat. It just falls flat. It wasn't good enough. And for those of you who are like, hey, you need to get kettle corn. I don't want sweet on my salty. You know what I mean? I'm not that type of person that's like, hey, I want a little sweet and salty at the same time. No, it's either I want salty or I want sweet. I don't want both, okay? So you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, like, I don't know what she's tasting because my taste is completely different. But let's tie this in to leadership, okay? Because again, I have these tastes and somebody watching this is probably thinking, she has terrible taste buds. I think somebody has told me in the past that I have taste buds of an elementary school child. And so, hey, to each their own, that's their feeling. But what I want you to think about is today, literally today in 2026, most of us have the privilege of being able to eat for the sake of taste. Some of us, however, do not have that luxury. We eat to survive. And our ancestors, long time ago, during caveman times, they ate to survive. But they used their taste as a means of discerning between what was good and what was not. And that's something that has kept up with the test of time, right? When we taste something and it's too sour, we make a face like, ooh, that's a lot. I don't want a lot of that. So for me, when I'm making a marinade and I add my seasonings, I know what to not put a lot of, and I know what to put a little extra of, okay? But when we think about this from the lens of leadership, right? When we think of taste, where does taste become most apparent? It becomes most apparent when you're assembling a team. Our taste shows up based on who we let in to the doors. Because let's say you're a small business owner, right? And I was talking to a business owner today, and he was sharing with me some of the struggles that comes with business ownership, especially when you're not a large conglomerate. And one of those things is, I don't always have the luxury, okay, like we just talked about, I don't have the luxury of picking and choosing employees. Sometimes it's just, I have the people that say they can do the job. And that's kind of like what we talked about a second ago, where not all of us have the luxury of eating for the sake of taste, but we're eating for the sake of survival, okay? So that's one thing. And when he was talking about this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's fair. But I think the other part of that in ownership, in leadership, is you also, at some point, are going to attract someone who may liken the taste of you and how you carry yourself as a leader, right? But then once that new hire stays at the company, they get a feel for who you are, and vice versa, you get a feel for who they are. And over time, think of it like eating a dish. You get the appetizer, that's the interview. And you're like, okay, this is good. Like, I'm excited for the main course. You get the main course, looks great. You know, it's a main course, and you start eating it, and you're like, okay, maybe I just need a little salt. Keep eating. Maybe I just need a little pepper. Keep eating. And at a certain point, you're like, you looking at the person next to you, and they're tearing that food down. Do you hear me? They are tearing their food down. They have a completely different meal, and you're getting the smell of what they have. And you're like, man, I bet that tastes good. Mine is okay. Waiter comes up. Hey, how's it taste? Hey, I'm not loving it. The waiter says, do you want us to switch it out? Because we can switch it out for you. Do you switch it out? If the waiter says, hey, we'll take it off your tab, what would be better for your taste? Would you switch it out? Most of you are gonna say, yes, I'm switching it out, right? And that's the same thing that happens when we have employees, when we have a team. Day after day after day, we are getting to taste, we get to understand, what did they season with? What have they been marinating on? What culture are they creating within their personal brand? When they walk in, when they present themselves, when they show up to work, are they showing up on time? Are they always running on two wheels? You start to taste. And sometimes you're like, this wasn't a good pick. And this is true whether you're a department head or if you're a business owner, right? But your taste shows up. And then not only does your taste show up, but then the team equally, it's like a buffet. They're like, oh, I don't like the way that tastes. It's got a little stank on it. Got a little bit of attitude. These are things that not only you end up tasting, your team tastes. And when your team tastes it, it's gonna come out and the client is gonna taste it. Whether it's a rushed project because one person is lacking, whether it's just an overall negative atmosphere that's created for them, even if it's subtle, it's still there, okay? So I wanna talk to you about more than just the surface level of what taste does, because if anything, what I want you to get in the first point of this is your culture is contingent on your taste. So it's important that you're very clear on what your palate likes. For me, I know my palate very well. I'm very clear on this is what the food I like, this is the food I don't like. So when people come up to me and say, hey Jerry, I want you to taste this, I tell them, I don't even want to waste your food because I know I'm not going to like it. Now I have some of my friends who are probably watching and are like, Jerry, sometimes you don't even taste the food and you've never tasted it and you say no. And that's a fact, okay? I need to be better about that. But the things I do know from experience, I steer clear. Don't get in the habit of saying, I'm going to taste everything, even if I know it's burned me in the past, even if I know it disgusted me in the past, because it's a waste of time. It tanks your culture. But probably one of the most important factors, it is a waste of money, which leads me to my second point about taste. Your taste is going to cost you. Your taste is going to cost you. Because let's say you're someone who says, you know what? I just need you to be able to do the job. I want us to think about this in real dollars. So I looked up what on average, what is the cost to hire a new employee? When I did a quick search, the average I think was about $5,000. So let's say you have a business and you're like, okay, I'm gonna hire somebody new. Okay, I just need somebody who can do the job. And you may be under the thought of, they'll look at my website, they'll know the type of person I am, that's gonna attract the type of person I want, period, because they're gonna see my expectations, my taste, etc. Okay, they come in, they do the interview, you get your appetizer, the interview, you eat, you're like, great, fantastic, you got the job, okay. They come in, and mind you, we will say for the sake of argument that this does include the cost of training as well. We'll say that. And cost of training could really just be equivalent to the time you're taking away from your work to train said person. Does that make sense? So they're trained and it's official day one. You pay them $20 an hour. This person is making $800 a week. Now, let's say the person is submitting their work, and every time they submit their work, you have to tack on another hour of work to help them, to go behind them. So that's one piece. The other piece is the team is saying on their projects, they're saying, hey, I need more help. They keep asking you for help when they didn't used to ask you as much for help. But they're asking you for help more often, and you're thinking, okay, what's going on? And you realize, oh, it's the work of the new employee. They're messing stuff up in the system, and only I have the access to override these things, make changes, etc. So that's another 2 hours being tacked on from your 8-hour day. Let's say you're working an 8-hour day if you're a leader. Most of my leaders know that's not happening. You're probably working more hours than that. But for the sake of argument. So you're doing their job for 3 hours a day, let's say every day. Let's see how much that's gonna cost you. So $20 an hour times 3 hours in a day, that's $60 a day. So $60 times 5. So that's gonna be $300 a week. Let's keep it going. So let's say this lasts for a month. That's $1,200, okay? Now let's say you're like, okay, I mean, that's really not good, but you know, we have people who are bad employees, or we have people who are ineffective employees and they stay for much longer. They stay for a minimum a year. Great, I'm glad you said that. So let's calculate and multiply times 12. So we're at $1,200 for that month. So times 12, that's $14,400 that was spent. Now let's go back to the beginning of that year. You invested $5,000 and you had to spend $14,400. So now you're at a $9,400 deficit. Your taste is going to cost you. All right. This is very important. And I understand that some companies, they cannot afford outside trainings, external trainings. They can't afford to do these things to say, hey, I can be this particular. And I think that's fair. But I also want to make you aware of what happens when you aren't picky. This is the impact. Your taste is contingent on you. It's contingent on what your expectations are. And so what we can do to define taste is define that as the behaviors that are acceptable to you. That are acceptable to you should be things that are gonna push you closer to your goal. Whatever those behaviors are, you have to be able to identify them. And it's gonna be different for everybody, because what I deem as a non-negotiable may not be your non-negotiable. But you have to figure out, what are my non-negotiables? What are the things I can that are palatable to me? And what are things that are gonna be palatable to my team? Whether you're assembling a new team or you have an existing team and you're bringing someone new on. What are those things? So taste is vital, y'all. We gotta make sure we're aware of the culture we're creating and the experience we're leaving not only our clients with, but what experience are you leaving your team with, okay? So that's all I've got for you today. I'm so grateful to have you guys. I mean, the support online has been great. The views have been awesome. And so I look forward to seeing more of you join the Unfolded family. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button somewhere here, okay? And if you've missed any of our previous episodes, just click on one of these videos. Again, I don't know which side. We'll see it later when we play it back. But thank you so much, and I hope y'all stay unfolded. Peace.